It's been a minute, but I think I have to be a little mean. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And fun fact, I have 15 minutes to give you my thoughts on the current state of Dandadan. And let's talk about it. So, let me start this 15-minute timer right now. If I can find it, load up, watch it rooting. So, we are in like, I don't want to say transition arc? Question mark, exclamation point. We're in like an arc of its own, but it feels like a transition arc, and I'm not sure how I feel about it on the wholesale. Mainly because of what's happening, or I suppose necessarily not what's happening, the main core of what's happening with our main cast, despite, I guess, the stuff not happening with our main cast is kind of the issue too. So, obviously, the main current plot point that's going on between our two main characters, Momo and Kentakakura or Okarun, is the idea that Momo's lost her memory. But we are slowly but surely building to the idea of her, if not getting the memories back, her redeveloping the same feelings anyway on a speed run. Now, here's my thing. You want to get me real nettled in a romance story? You want to just grind my gears, tickle my toes, buckle my shoes, and twist my nose? I ran out of rhymes and the analogy a while ago. I just don't like it when you get to a point where these characters should have been together like 50 chapters ago. And like, here's the thing. I could excuse it. I could put a pause on it realistically and reasonably when this was an active choice by Momo being like, hey, I'm miniature right now. You dating a tiny me. Not really cool with that. Let's see if we can put that on pause, buckaroo, until I get back to regular size. Fine. I get that. It would also be weird if my significant other could fit me in the palm of their hand. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me a good muscle mommy. And I also do love tall women. But in order for me, 6 foot, 230 pound, that guy with a pencil to fit in a woman's hand, she would have to bare minimum be 30 feet, and I'm not trying to dig and all that. So with that being the case, I get that. And obviously this is the inverse situation since Momo's small and Okarun was big. Regardless. But the second you told me, the second I opened up a chapter, and Momo had memory loss, I was like, dang, potato chip. What? Like, here's the thing. Tatsu Sensei, fantastic writer, fantastic artist. I'm glad Tatsu Sensei did the motive back. If you don't want them to get together, make it something else. Don't do memory. I don't care. Because eventually, look, my toes stick on my nose. It intentionally feels like we're stalling, right? We're just stalling this for no particular well, not necessarily no particular reason, right? And here's the one thing I'll give a pass to Dandadan on. Plot progression is still happening. Specifically in terms of the B plot of not only just Momo getting her powers back, that's kind of the A plot, and her memories back, but very specifically Ken's own abilities expanding and evolving far beyond his and seemingly anyone else's conversations. Or not conversations, understandings, right? The idea that he can use Ogre Club like this, and that was not the intended plan. He just has so much external raw spirit energy now after being merged with Turbo Granny for so long, and possibly allowing him to either A, truly become a combat-worthy fighter on his own without actually needing Turbo Granny back, or getting him to essentially Turbo Granny levels of combatant, and then stacking Turbo Granny back on top of that, because she does reappear. Where did she? Was that at the end of this chapter? No, it wasn't at the end of this chapter. It was a few chapters ago, but Turbo Granny did actually reappear. She's in the hospital, essentially guarding Granny Psycho, which I do think is a nice thing. I'm glad that she's back and is willing to take care of her actual real friend, even if she's not going to give her powers or create a contract or go back to Okarun. But with it being the case, Okarun being set up with new powers to substitute for his Turbo Granny powers and his abilities to manifest these abilities, especially purely by accident, is a great thing. It allows him to better parallel and understand Gigi more. It allows for him to possibly get into a state like Gigi where he has his own raw set of powers, and then he could possibly get Turbo Granny's powers back. Like, that's all good. And that's why I said kind of mean, because ultimately I don't think I can get overall too mad at it. The main thing I just don't like is that we're just intentionally putting a pause on the main plot. Because right at the core of itself, Dandadan is a romance manga. So, dog, if you want to just let them get together right from there, like it's. And I think I do somewhat get it because it is harder to write characters in a romantic relationship. Trust me, I've tried and failed, and had to continue to keep trying and will continue to keep failing. But still, I'd rather we just have genuine plot progression than the memory loss thing. Alright? So I've gotten my critiques and complaints about the memory loss. Let's get away from that for a second and just talk about the other side of the narrative. The Count Saint Germain side of the narrative. So, ultimately, the reason I'm kind of confused on whether or not to call this a transitionary arc or maybe just like an arc in of itself is we don't really have a main antagonist, kind of, sort of. Like, don't get me wrong, we definitely do have Count Saint Germain, right? Like he's currently the big bad boss, and that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. But at the same time, it almost feels like it's almost too proxy-esque. It's very similar to the ideas of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, right? Where all these random fodders, except for, you know, the smoke guy who keeps being a consistent plot thread, which I can do appreciate. I do like that the smoke guy keeps popping up and keeps being utilized in order to get past our main characters in unique and interesting ways, and ultimately they can't combat him properly just because he is that cracked on his own because of his ability. But outside of him, it does feel Fourth Great Shinobi World War-esque, where like we're stalling yet we're making progress. It's like we're putting our foot on putting both of our feet on the accelerator and the brakes at the same time. What I mean by that is we are having romantic developments between, I know I'm going right back, I'm sorry, I can't help it, it still bothers me. We are still developing romantic interest and dynamics between Momo and Okarun. That's still a thing, except it's new, kind of new Momo, who has her powers, not yet, kind of, sort of, maybe weird, and has these dynamics, but doesn't necessarily have them yet, but is still redeveloping them at a relatively rapid rate, so like that's still happening. So that's cool, that's fine. But obviously it's just at a different point from where we were before. And then same case with the Count Saint Germain stuff. Like, we're making progress. In fact, the fact that what chapter is this? 223. Perfect. The fact that chapter 223 does end with seemingly, well, we don't know because we don't see the blade cut. So who knows? We may open up chapter 224. I literally just forgot. Yeah, we may open up to chapter 24 and she somehow gets saved from this. But the fact that we just immediately set her up to get these powers only to immediately take them away is actually like a relatively big twist. I wasn't expecting her to get nerfed pretty much ever. Because, you know, we already nerfed Okarun, right? Like, why are we gonna nerf the entire cast at this point? So, I actually was kind of bamboozled to see this plot point and development undergo and happen. So, I'm actually happy for it. But at the same time, these are proxies of proxies of proxies. And unfortunately, these aren't just proxies of proxies of proxies for our main antagonist, Count Saint Germain, but it's also proxies of proxies of proxies for our protagonist, right? Like, this isn't like if Aika was to, or not Aika, wrong series. If Aira were to suddenly lose her powers, if Mashiro Tori were, or if Gigi were to suddenly lose the evil eye, or his evil beam, or Momo were to suddenly lose her powers. And Okarun actually did lose his powers. But still, that's the thing. This is so tertiary and attached, and almost because of the way Dandadan has been structured so far, and the way that this didn't like happen clearly, because, you know, they can still lose the knife, the Kazuka knife, and plus she knows how the knives work, considering her previous interaction with Count Saint Germain. Like, she has a whole bunch of stuff already, she kind of already set up and dealt with and worked with, so like, it is kind of weird, and especially considering the nature of her powers. I can see it's not even like functioning properly, just because like, her dynamic with the people is different than almost every other dynamic. On top, like, both of the characters involved here essentially don't have just like an easy power you can steal and then take away, as far as we know, because like, Mai is sentient. Or like she, well, hold on, it is Mai, right? Am I stupid? I'm stupid. Please tell me it's mine. Please tell me it's Mai. Hold on. Am I dumb? Is it not Mai? Hold on. No, why? Your idle powers increased. My clothes changed too. What is this character's name? Bowser protecting, sing like you mean it. Yukishiro. Wait, no. What is it? It's Mai, right? Am I stupid? Am I dumb? Vampire. Yeah, it is Mai. Okay, thank heavens. I was like, I was actually having a horrific brain moment right there. But essentially, like, she's sentient and has her own qualms about working with people. It's like, would she really be forced to obey? Same thing with Yukishiro's powers and the way they interact with individuals. Like, would the people who built her the piano really work as well for others? And then on top of that, would the insects even listen to her? Or would they be able to play piano to her same ability, considering that was like a unique trait to her? I don't know. And that's where I get this idea of, we're moving. We're like drifting right now. I think that's it. Because we are making progress in the race of the grand scheme of the Dandadan narrative, right? Like, we are moving forward, but we've put it, the car, we've hard turned the wheel all the way to the left. We're hard hooking it, and we're sliding. We're sliding at a half decent speed, but it does feel a little bit, it feels like a little bit of padding. But at the same time, it's in that weird narrative state where what's a good comparison? We're in one of those states, right, where I keep going back and forth. Is this a transitionary arc? Is it not? Where, and I won't even use the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, because that technically is an overarching arc broken down into many little arcs that you can definitely see, especially once the manga's over. I think we're kind of in the same position but who's going to get the Magi reference? Let me not do Magi. We are in the early Namek Saga. Except we don't even know who Frieza. No, in fact, we are right at the start of the Namek Saga, where technically our main character is quote unquote out of commission, yet on the way, and also our main characters know there is a main antagonist that they need to be working towards / against, but they don't have any context for who that main antagonist is, so they're kind of just doing their own thing at the moment, based on their own character motivations, which is basically how the early Namek Saga started, right? Remember, they didn't go to Namek for Frieza, they went to Namek for the Dragon Balls to revive their friends after the Saiyans. Frieza just happened to be there. And it's the same thing with this whole, like, Momo / Okarun plotline. It's not like Okarun lost his powers of Turbo Granny because of Count Saint Germain. No, it's just, the deal that was set up at the start of the series. And it's not like Okarun's developing his powers just because of Count Saint Germain, though admittedly that does help. But he doesn't even know who Count Saint Germain is. They've interacted with him before. They obviously have a dynamic with him. But, like, they don't know that. Same thing with Momo and her whole memory loss thing. Like, honestly, seemingly entirely disconnected from Count Saint Germain as far as we know, seemingly enough. I thought, initially, when it was revealed that she got dunked, brought back, and then lost her powers, like, I thought that was going to be a thing. But then Count Saint Germain came and tried to take her powers, which she didn't have anymore. So, like, clearly, he didn't know about the whole coming back to regular size thing. So, that was just completely disconnected from him. So, it's weird. Our main antagonist does exist. We do have an overarching antagonist. He does have an entire army of subordinates that are currently coming to deal with our protagonists in many different ways to continue the major plot line of taking powers and amassing them all for Count Saint Germain. Like, we're doing all this, but we're still so disconnected. We're in that weird feud point. So, when I say I'm feeling a little bit, it's because of my biases, right? Like I said, I don't really like memory loss plotlines, just in general. Not that's lazy. You can definitely do memory loss plotline interestingly. Like, I think the main time I think of like a good, interesting, dramatic irony-esque memory loss plotline is Heroes of Olympus. Very specifically, both, especially in the case of Jason, but definitely for Percy in Son of Neptune, where it's like, we know why your memory is lost. We know he had his memories lost. We have the context for what his memories should be, but we don't know why they were lost in the first place. Like, that's a good, interesting way, because, like, no one has context. But we can, like, piece things together. Momo's memory loss is essentially forced in here, so one, we could at least give some sort of cost to her returning back to normal, considering she did fail the quest of returning back to normal. So, obviously, Tatsu-sensei giving her the cost of losing her memories is, like, a fair enough trade-off to, pause and offset the cost of her getting what she wanted in the first place in spite of breaking the rules and essentially missing her deadline. So that's fine. That works. We're fitting it in. But the real meta-narrative reason is that Tatsu-sensei just doesn't want Okarun and Momo to get together just yet, so he's stalling it out a little bit longer. And I don't like that. It's where the narrative itself can't wave its fingers in front of my face fast enough. Like, don't get me wrong. I am very easy to gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss. But in this case, I can see Tatsu-sensei's fingers wiggling in front of my face, and I don't like it. I'm like, move, get to the plot. And that impatience is a me thing that ultimately, if I had to generally say how I feel in the end, I think it's fine. I think it's okay that we're taking the slower pace. I need this whole video to come to that point, because initially, in fact, I may have to change the thumbnail. Oh no, I'll see, because I already made the thumbnail. I typically make the thumbnails for the My Thoughts videos, generalize around one where they think about the videos in that thesis for a little bit of a meta break on this end. But, very specifically, I think I'm fine with it, because I'd rather have this slower pace where we expand on characters' powers and abilities and interactions like this. Like, their whole interaction here with their abilities was actually really, really unique to see, between the singer and the Bug Lady. So like that was a really cool interaction to see. And immediately Okarun getting new powers slowly but surely is an interesting dynamic to have, on top of redeveloping the dynamic. It's interesting enough to see, as much as they don't really rock with it, because I would rather continue from the dynamic they already had. Like, all this stuff does work. And it is good character work and good character interactions. And it does still build, it does what it's intended to do, right? It builds to the threat of Count Saint Germain, right? If these two, specifically the class rep and Yukishiro weren't able to handle the subordinates, imagine how our whole cast is going to do against the whole army of subordinates and Count Saint Germain themselves, right? Like we are still building to the plot, even if we aren't steeped directly in the plot this very instant. So like, I'm leaning with it, I'm rocking with it, I'm fine with it. I think I'm fine with it, and I think that's probably what for reference, considering I'm going to change the thumbnail. The thumbnail literally just said meh. It said meh because I was feeling a lot more meh before I actually record the video. But I'm out of time. So if you made all the way to this video, please do me a favor and leave meh. That's fine. Might as well just fuse it too. Meh. It's fine in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that link to the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, even have a Patreon down below. You can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things, exclusive videos, the content, and more. And also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, here this series review, ad variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, not just on the main channel, but on the second channel that goes reaction you get early access to. And on top of that, you get your name listed at the end of every single video I produce. And if you're a $3 member or $3 Patreon or higher, you get your name listed and read aloud at the end of every single video I ever produce. And on top of that, I do my Ko-Fi link down below if you want to do a one-time donation, 5 beans for a short video, 20 beans for one video, any beans at all. I always, you know what though, since this is a Dandadan video, if anyone like ever drops like a crate, like if I ever get like a 4-digit one-time donation, I will do something insane. Like, I will shave my head bald on camera if someone ever does that. But that's just a random thing out there because I'm like, oh, it's the end of the video. And I've watched my analytics. No one ever listens to that deep. So, with that being the case, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a, oh wait, I do have a Twitch down below. That got the controller. Every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. Come roll through. We consistently about literally anything. So, there's that. But now I want to thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Got the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Guillaume, Pura Ura, Enzo, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Romano Furen, Dino, Hector Gonzalez, Tim Thomas, Kaving, Julian Perez, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Karu Deer, Christian Carter, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Sino King, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Igbinoba, Straw, Athenzi Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Azo2404, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, Dre, Axis XC, The Practical One, Aswin Hedi Presetia, JMD KD, Devi Pesiet, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Funny Dude, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brandon Payne, Black Sage, and Multi-Batman Superman. Then I'll leave a thank you to Artline Art Tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Dread Zoen, Midnight Lord 21, CJ, and Karina Hernandez. Then I'll leave a thank you to Art Inc. tier members: King RTX, Shrimp of the 4th Shrimp 06, and Zom. Then I'll give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to Art Colored Art tier patrons: Walking Munoz and Walkie Munoz.